Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. Now in this one we'll be talking about one player every Premier League club should sell in the remaining couple of weeks of the window. You can let me know whether you agree, disagree with me in the comment section below, and don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. So let's get straight into it. So we're going to go through every single club, obviously alphabetically, and yeah, we're going to go. So obviously Bournemouth, one player I think they should sell is Evan Nelson. I think he's not the greatest of strikers. I think he's someone that can definitely move on. Obviously, they may need him this season with Kripke Jr.'s injury. However, I don't think they'd be in a bad position if they do sell him. I think if they sell him, they probably get a couple of million for him. Then they're allowed to focus on Kripke Jr. being that main striker going forward. The next one's Arsenal. For me, Arsenal should sell Martinelli. They bought in Solis, who's a very, very good signing. He's going to be the one that's looking to be taking over that left wing spot. There's been a lot of links with Martinelli. There's been a lot of rumours that Martinelli will be leaving Arsenal. He wasn't in the squad for the Community Shield game. You know, that kind of tells you everything you need to know. As much as I think Martinelli is a good or decent player for Arsenal, I know Arsenal fans rate him, but then now's the perfect opportunity to move him on. And you have those new players coming through, saying that though they may not be reluctant to move him on because obviously they've already lost Trossard and there's no real backup yet for Solis if he was to get injured. And you know Arsenal will probably get deep into the Champions League, deep in all the cups and obviously the Premier League games as well. But for me, I would sell Martinelli. Aston Villa, I think I've gone Liam Bailey. He's had multiple spots at the club. Yes, they've lost Morgan Rogers, but I think they can recruit better now. I think they bought in Manzambi as well. They've got Garnacho. I think Liam Bailey should be someone you definitely look at selling. I don't think he has enough impact on this team. He's not a guaranteed starter. And as I said, I just think Villa can do better, to be honest with you. Brentford, I've gone Fabio Carvalho. Now, again, still a young player, but again, you look at bringing in Callum Wilson, you got Thiago, you got Shardy, you got Ouattara. His minutes are going to be limited, and he's still only 23 years of age, I believe. So we can definitely go out and get some minutes at a different Premier League club, or maybe a different club, because at that age you really do need to play football. And just looking at that Brentford squad, you know, whenever I watched him last season, he didn't really get many minutes, to be honest with you. Brighton, as much as I think Mitoma is going to be a big player for Brighton, I would probably consider selling him. I think if I look at elsewhere in the squad, there's a lot of valuable players. Mitoma hasn't had the greatest of seasons in the last couple of seasons for Brighton, and he probably should be a player they look at selling. As much as I like him, I think he's a good footballer. You know how good Brighton are at selling players. I think a couple of years ago you probably would have got 70 million for him, but now I don't know what his restart value would be. Chelsea, I've gone goalkeeper Robert Sanchez. I think if I look everywhere else in their squad, you know, defensive wise, they've got Lacroix, they've got Adebayo, they've got Colwill, they've got Reece James who can do a job at centre back. They've got players in the defence, midfield as well. Henderson, Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez for now, Lavia, Asugo. They've got many midfielders, and obviously their attack I don't need to list. I just think that goalkeeper is a position they can massively improve on. And with Robert Sanchez, he makes too many mistakes. He's not the greatest keeper. Quite shaky playing out from the back, and the way in which Alonso wants to play, I won't be surprised if they do recruit another goalkeeper soon. Now, Coventry, I don't know, but I had to do some research. I think his name's Joel Latibudiare. I think that's how I'm going to pronounce it. Don't know too much about Coventry. He's just a player that I found. Crystal Palace, now again, there's quite a few players. I'll probably go with Mateta. I know this one seems a bit crazy considering he is a player that, you know, does score a lot of goals with them. But I'm looking elsewhere at the team. They have a lot of valuable players. And I think with Mateta, they were very close to selling him last year. And they bought in a replacement. That's how confident they were. Obviously, the deal did kind of fall through towards the end of the window and ultimately ended up staying at Crystal Palace. However, I think he's a player they should definitely look at selling while they can still get some money for him. Strand Larsen's at the club now. Yeah, I think he'd be someone that they'd be looking to cash in. And that's not saying I think they have to sell him. It's just the reason why I say they should sell him is because they previously looked at selling him. Everton have gone Mykolenko. I think they have brought in a left back. I just don't think Mykolenko's performances over the last couple of seasons have been that great. I know you could argue, you know, centre back, or you can argue, you know, like a Tarkowski, but I just think he's too instrumental to the team. You can argue Branthwaite with his injuries, but for me, I've gone for Mykolenko. Fulham, I've gone Anthony Robertson. Now, this is probably not going to be, you know, a popular opinion, but for me, when I watch Fulham, when I watch them play, as good as Anthony Robertson is, he's very injury prone. And I think that's why I'd look at selling him. He's now 30 years of age. bringing in another left back, even with obviously Arbeloa's connection, potentially Navarro Carreras from Real Madrid. I think that would be a very good signing. Again, Hull City have gone Giles, and Ipswich George Hurst. Don't know too much about him, to be honest. Leeds have gone Perot. Now he's a sort of 10/striker. Again, he's been linked with a move away. That's the only reason why I say they should sell him. Liverpool, I've gone Cody Gakpo. Listen, I know they haven't found a Salah replacement, but Gakpo for me is not a good enough player to be playing for Liverpool game in, game out. I think he had a decent World Cup. I think he's a player who definitely does have quality. However, going forward, he'd be a player that, you know, you can cash in. There's been links to Spurs, probably be a good fit there. I think Liverpool can definitely do better. There's some other positions as well. You could obviously take the obvious shout like Joe Gomez. You could probably say McAllister, because there has been links away. But for me, I've gone Cody Gakpo. Man City, I've gone Omar Mamouche. Again, he's on 300 grand a week. A player you definitely would look at selling. He's not going to get many minutes next season with Haaland playing a majority of the games. And I just don't think he's been that great for City in the time that he's been there. I think a player that come in with a lot of quality, you know, the season that he had at Frankfurt just didn't really happen for him at Manchester City. That's why I'd look at selling him. Newcastle, now this is for a Manchester United perspective. I think they should sell Lewis. Oh, I missed out Manchester United. One player Manchester United must sell. It's Mason Mount, in my opinion. I think that's obvious. I've voiced it many times. Mason Mount, for me, as good as his quality is, he's not available enough, and that's why you'd have to look at selling him. As much as I said, in certain games he will chip in with goals, he gets injured too much. Newcastle, I was going to talk Lewis Hall. I think they should definitely look at selling him from a United perspective. I think it don't really matter who really leaves. They've lost more or less all their big players over the last 2 seasons. Lewis Hall, just please come to Manchester United. And then Nottingham Forest have gone Hutchinson. He signed from Ipswich. I think it was a 30 million deal, and he just doesn't look great. I don't know why. Whenever I watch him, he just reminds me of like Anthony. He reminds me of Anthony at Manchester United. Like, maybe we'll come up with a goal every now and again, but he's very inconsistent. Obviously, costs way less. But yeah, I just don't think he's that great. And then Spurs, again, there's a plethora of players you can pick from. I've gone for Solanke. Don't think he's that great. I think they can definitely do better. But yeah, I feel like he's not the greatest of strikers for them. Let me know your thoughts.